Hi, BrenTech here, where tech is made simple. So another month has gone by, so that means it's time to have a look at the latest Statcounter Global Stats survey results, those market share percentages for the desktop Windows version market share to compare June and July 2026. Now, out of the 6 versions of Windows in the top 6 places, 4 have decreased in market share, 1 remains exactly the same, and only 1 has increased in market share. And the only one to have increased in market share is Windows 10, which is interesting. Now, starting at the back, as always, Windows 8 has decreased from 0.03% to 0.02, so that's very minuscule. Windows XP has actually dropped from 4th place in June to 5th place in July, and that's from 0.17% to 0.09%, and it's exactly the same as Windows 8.1. And Windows 8.1 was 0.09% in June and is exactly the same once again for July, although Windows XP has been bumped down, so that's a very interesting one. And then Windows 7 has moved down from 1.67% to 1.01%. And then, as mentioned, Windows 10 is the only one to have increased by give or take about 1%, 1.5%, from 28.1% to 29.83%. And then Windows 11 has decreased from 69.92% to 68.93%. So basically, in the bigger picture of things, and I have noticed this trend over the last couple of months, the market share in the bigger picture of things is remaining mostly unchanged. So basically it's stagnating. And I think the reason for that, comparing Windows 10 and Windows 11, is because the whole hype of the end of support for Windows 10 now, and the hustle and bustle, so to speak, of the end of support for Windows 10 now has moved over and is gone by. So I think people are settling down now more into the so-called version of Windows between Windows 10 and Windows 11 that they are going to be using. So I think that's why we are seeing, especially between Windows 10 and Windows 11, a bit of a stagnation, not major market share moving anywhere actually. So there's hardly any difference between June and July for those percentages. And then if we have a look at the chart, we can see nothing really has changed that much between June and July. Yeah, we can just see that Windows 10 is on a slight uptick and is the only one actually that's moving up very slightly in market share, which is interesting. And I think that's now because Microsoft has extended the ESU, the Extended Security Updates Program, for another year to October of 2027. So I think that's why users now are adopting or coming back to Windows 10 for that very reason. So interesting stuff. That's the Statcounter Global Stats for the desktop Windows version market share for July 2026. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.